didn't know whether to make this video because it's such a sensitive topic and I don't want to put a foot wrong and offend anybody, but I feel like with my knowledge as a trainee primary teacher I can help, so that's what I'm going to do today. So the first thing I want to say is that I feel like children's books are not just for children, even though it's in the name, but I feel like I have read so many children's books that really resonate with me. Picture books are amazing and some people will learn better from pictures and just really need this simply explaining in the most basic way for them to understand, and that is fine as long as you understand eventually. It might take a little bit of time, but as long as you're trying and you're putting in that effort to educate yourself, that's okay. So the first book I want to talk about is My Hair is Beautiful. So I would say that this book is mainly for toddlers. It basically shows all different hairstyles that black and mixed race babies and children can have. It's just really nice, in my opinion, for a child to be able to pick up a book and think, that's like me, I look like this child, and I feel like there is a real lack of that for the black community. So I did a little research and I looked at the soap company Dove. Something that they found was that black women are 80% more likely to change their natural hair than white women to fit in at work or in society, and it blew my mind. So I like this book because it allows children to relate to a child in a book, a child with the same hairstyle. And my all-time favourite thing about this book is the very last page. There's a mirror and it says something along the lines of, "You are beautiful." And obviously that child can look into that mirror and be in the book themselves because they are just like all the other children. It's a gorgeous book for young children. Okay, so the next book I'm going to talk about is more of a picture story book with a narrative. So this is Sulway. And Sulway is about a little girl. So her and her sister go to the same school, and her sister has a lighter skin colour than her and she has a very dark skin colour. She receives more hate at school than her sister does. Growing up with people that have had comments and things at school, I know what it can do to a person, and something in this book that is covered is that Sulway goes home and she takes a rubber and tries to rub out a few shades of her skin to be a lighter skin colour. This really upsets me that a child would want to do that. Sulway basically ends up seeing that she's beautiful inside and out, and it's just a gorgeous story with a beautiful narrative, really nice illustrations. I'd say anyone above the age of 6 could be read this story. It really is beautiful. Okay, so my next book is Little Leaders, and I've got the Bold Women book here, Bold Women in Black History, but there is a male version as well. There's books where it's women in history, there's black women in history, black men in history, and it basically just looks at the minorities because a lot of historical figures are male whites. It is a pretty known thing. So to cover all of these groups in these beautiful books is just an amazing achievement for this author. So in this particular book you get basically one page of information about the historical figure, and then on the other side there is a lovely piece of artwork. There's Nurse Mary Seacole, there's Shirley Bassey, there's Katherine Johnson, and yeah, it basically shows you brave women, brave black women that have overcome obstacles and broke boundaries and become amazing historical figures. So I would definitely say that this is an older child's book. Even as an adult, I was reading about people that I didn't even know of. I recommend for all ages, that one. And it's a gorgeous, gorgeous book. Another book by this author is called Dream Big, Little One, which is another quick suggestion. Okay, so the next book is We March. This is gorgeously illustrated. There is one page where they're doing the march, and there is men, women, children, adults, grandparents, black people, white people. Such a diverse page showing that you can basically unite. If you all come together, you can make a difference together. And it's just a great book for opening discussion. It's a very simple book, I would say. Maybe any child over the age of about 7 would be able to read it. At the back, it's basically got a more detailed context about the book. So the book is about the marching on the 28th of August 1963, when people were going to see Martin Luther King Jr. deliver his speech of "I have a dream." That day, for people of colour, must have just been really uplifting and beautiful. I feel like that book really incorporates all those feelings. Even though it is such a simple book to read, it can open discussion. It can then bring you into talking about how to be actively anti-racist with your children, how to spot racism in a classroom and stop it. Just all these things that children should be taught when they're growing up, and I'm just afraid that it's not. So as a future teacher, that is something I really want to take into my classroom. So my next book is called Race Cars. This book is all about white privilege, which is a thing. If you don't think it is, maybe you should get this book. I think this is another really useful tool to encourage parents and carers and teachers to talk to children about white privilege. It can allow them to talk about race, privilege, oppression, and how to be, again, actively anti-racist. So it basically tells the story of two best friend race cars. So there's a white race car and a black race car, and they both enter into the same race. Sadly, they have different rules and different experiences, and this is the same as in real life. This book just really discusses how being white can give you that advantage in life. It is one that I would really recommend adults to look at if they don't understand the concept of white privilege and they just need a really basic way to look at it, and that's not a bad thing at all. So I just want to share this information that I found. As early as 6 months, a baby's brain can notice race-based differences. By ages 2 to 4, children can internalise racial bias and start assigning meaning to race. 5 to 8-year-olds begin to place value judgments on similarities and differences. By age 12, children have a complete set of stereotypes about every racial, ethnic and religious group in society. I'm not even going to go into that, but just know that by the age of 12, children have stereotypes of racial, ethnic and religious groups. So as teachers, parents, carers, friends, we need to make sure that children are educated. So I'd say that Race Cars is a really simple but really powerful way to educate children on what white privilege is. So Something Happened in Our Town is the next book and final book I'm going to be talking about. Okay, so this book is about two children called Emma and Josh, and they found out that some things happened in their town. The thing that's happened is that a white policeman, shot a black man because they thought he was carrying a gun. This book follows one white family and one black family, and they basically discuss what has happened in their town and why it has happened to this black man in the community. The book's aim is to basically help children understand these traumatic events that could be happening in their town or just in the world in general. And it can also help children identify and counter racial injustice that they might see in their own lives, whether that be at school or just out on the street. It'll help them notice what's right, what's wrong. It's a gorgeously written book and illustrated, again, beautifully. I just think it's another one that can really open up discussion and link it to real life events that are happening. It actually has a discussional section in it. It basically has simple dialogue to help parents and carers and teachers begin discussion about race. It includes child-friendly definitions in the book. Overall, a really beautiful piece. They could really make a difference if you read them to your children, or even if you read them. I guarantee they'll make you think. I'm going to leave some links down below of things that I think are very educational to read, and also some links for petitions which you can sign. I'll see you later, guys. Stay safe.